since when is it 60 again? There was a level squish prior to this update. They've actually changed the entire leveling everything. If I log out, if I were to make a new character, they've changed this screen entirely. Like, entirely. This is new, this rough update. They've also changed a lot of the models and added in a lot more customizations that you can choose for things and stuff. With like different face paints and all that. You can kind of make yourself like a wild hammer dwarf if you want. Kind of, sort of. Just all sorts of stuff and things. Some of the classes don't have that. Like if you were to make a Lightforged Draenei, since they're new in quotes, they don't have nearly as many customization options, but like a lot of the old school classic ones do. I think like orcs you can choose to be hunched over or not with just everybody somewhere. I thought might just be like a dude orc thing. I don't know why I haven't played Horde in a long while. Okay, yeah, upright. There's a check mark for that. I think that used to be limited to the Mag'har orcs, I think were by default upright, but now just any orc can be hunched over or upright, which is pretty cool. And then you get like the fun previews. Like, oh wow, I can do all of that, except totally not really. Although actually you can cast Frostbolt with everybody, I think. And also Meteor if you spec into it. All sorts though. New class-wise, nothing new yet, just the different races. Like the Kultiran, I think, are the most recent along... Well, no, Mechanomes would be the most recent, I guess. Like the most recent, which are a bit disappointing, really. They got a bit better with like the new models and stuff, but they're still a bit disappointing overall. I'm not sure what to think about them. But hey, you start with a cool robot dog. Oh, look at that. But there is a big level squish that came out, and because typically they do like an item level squish, so all of your gear is a little bit worse, because they don't want people going into the next expansion with like item level 1000 stuff and then having item level 2000, and then your stamina that you get from the gear is like plus 23,492, and it's huge numbers, so they squish everything. And this most recent one, they squished the just the levels as well. Turn that all down just a little bit, fucking hell. They squished everything, which has some interesting side effects, because you've got the... Gosh, what level? You go into Shadowlands at 50 now, which means that Battle for Azeroth is 45, and Legion is 40, but the weapon that you get from Legion has the little thingamadoos that you put into it to boost its item level. Those are still plus 16 to plus 20 if you get a lucky roll. Well, so you can get okay, I don't really have it with this character, apparently. These things though you can get plus 20 if you get a lucky roll, plus 16 otherwise. You could get 2/4 plus 60 item levels on top of whatever it base is, which turns it into, I think, item level 70, which is pretty huge. Like, really, really seriously huge. So a lot of people will go with Legion now, because when you make a new character, you can either do a new starting zone that they've got that is a guided tour of World of Warcraft and teaches you how to generally play and also specifically play your quest or class. It's really good. They did a great job with it. And that spits you out into your capital city at level 10. Or you do your own just kind of whatever start. You start in your normal starting zone until roughly level 10. But then you talk to Chromie, who for the Alliance is somewhere back there by those portal stones. And you choose which expansion to play. And you play that expansion from level 10 up to level 50. Farm through a bazillion expansions to get to the current game. No, yeah, that spits you out then at wherever you need to be for the current content. So a lot of people choose Legion because the Legion weapons are really... I should probably actually not bring those out. the Legion weapons are actually really fucking good for leveling. And they give you a pretty good head start, but a lot of people also go with Draenor because you can also fly in these older zones a lot easier now. And Draenor is actually pretty sweet to level in once you can fly. You can really bang out the quests. There's also a few add-ons that are like your, you know, sort of like autopilot guided whatever type thing.
Need help?
So you can more easily do the quests. And some of the add-ons just give you like a waypoint system and basically hold your hand throughout the entire leveling process to expedite it and make it as quickly to level cap as possible. And I think that only supports Draenor, which is fair enough. But you can also go with like Burning Crusade if you want to, or stick with Classic if you really, really want to. But item level wise now, you've got item level 220, I think, is pretty much the best of the best of the best. I mentioned a little while ago when Shadowlands first came out during an XCOM stream that I wasn't sure how raid drops would work because Mythic was already a thing, and typically Mythic is just like the hard version of the instance, and you can do Mythic +2 and +3 and +4, and it scales up in difficulty, but the item reward also scales up, and typically be the type of thing where if you're doing Mythic 4, you're getting better loot than you would be getting from the raid. But they've changed that a little bit on this as well, where every step of Mythic that you do is only like +1 or 2 item level. So you'd have to be doing like Mythic level 10, I think, to be getting like heroic raid equivalent stuff. Yeah, pick different expansions, experience the whole world without having to repeat it on every character. Yeah, and different experience too. Heirloom gear has changed around a little bit as well. The heirloom gear used to just be a straight flat bonus experience, but now it more modifies how much rested experience you get, how quickly rested experience is consumed, and when you level up, there's like a big AoE damage thing that happens, which is fun on PvP servers. Stuff like that. So rested experience, you get more bang for your buck with it. Yeah, it's been really good. Shadowlands has been fucking awesome, really. Like really super good. I've had a lot of fun with it. I've got many different characters, but I've been focusing on my Demon Hunter pretty much up until this past week when I started leveling up my mage. Because our guild kind of needs some more ranged DPS. We picked up a Warlock, thank fuck. I hope they know what they're doing for this weekend. Because Warlocks are really strong right now. Affliction Warlocks, I think, are one of the top 3 DPS on the charts. My mage I have a lot of fun with, because I liked Fire Mage for leveling. That was really fun. And Fire Mage is pretty good for raiding, but high level I don't really like Fire Mage as much, because dungeons for Fire Mage, it's a lot of build-up. It's a lot of build-up and a lot of chaos and just kind of going with whatever happens. But with the rapid pulls, if everything's dying in less than 5 seconds, it's harder to do anything. So I switched over to Frost, which is generally kind of a bit shit, but they're getting a huge boost tomorrow. I think currently it's looking like a +8, +9% damage increase just overall. But only this past week I've had an opportunity to really play any other characters. I've also got my Paladin up to 60. I was playing that with my wife a bit, but her gear is garbage. It's nothing. And yeah, scroll bar for the characters. I don't know what the character limit is. I'm not sure. I've never had to buy any sort of character slots. It's just naturally fucking massive. Yeah, server down in 3 in the morning tomorrow, Central Time, for just an hour. That's okay. I'm not going to be around then. It's the normal weekly restart type deal. Demon Hunter newest class. Yeah? No? Yes? When exactly did Demon Hunter become a thing? Legion, I think, right? I think Legion. Demon Hunter became a thing. So they're the newest class, technically. They always started a bit higher level. Like, the Death Knight started a slightly higher level than everybody else. Demon Hunter started a higher even level, but Demon Hunters you can only have one of. Can I even have... Well, yeah, of course. Blood Elf, then. It seems like I might be able to, actually, yeah. But if I were to make another... Wait, I can? No. Oh, okay. Maybe they got rid of that. Maybe you can have as many as you want. It used to be just like a 1 per server per account type thing. I don't know. Could have 10 on a server and 11. I think it was 8. Last I knew, 8 was the number, I think, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I can have just fucking as many as you want. I got a lot of level 50 because of the Battle for Azeroth's host season type thing was just so absurdly long.
Wow. Playing WoW? Wow.
Thank you, Neophyte. Tier 1, 8 months on a 5-month streak. Much appreciated. Happy to have you. How you doing? Yeah, I got some daily stuff to do with WoW, but honestly, like, thinking about it, it'd be fucking awesome if we could all play well together. That'd be, holy shit. That'd be, like, tremendous. I'd love that a lot. We could make a guild and everything. That'd be terrific. So many people wouldn't want that though. But God, I'd love it. I'd love the hell out of that. But yeah, there's just so much going on with this expansion with stuff to do. The pacing's been really, really good that I haven't had a chance to really play any other characters. It's an addiction that a lot of people kicked. Jeez. Because you got the, when you hit level cap, you choose a covenant. There's 4 covenants to choose from in the new expansion. Because the new expansion's all about the afterlife and where souls go, and depending on the type of soul, they go to a different part of the afterlife. Like if you had some sort of attunement to nature, you go to Ardenweald. If you were sort of like a righteousness type thing, go to Bastion. If you were just, I guess, addicted to war or whatever, you go with Maldraxxus, and if you're a bit prideful, you go to Ravendreth, which is who I chose. There's also the Maw, which is effectively hell. Just the worst of the worst go there and they get tortured. And then Oribos being the sort of neutral capital this expansion. I went with Ravendreth because I'm a demon hunter and I have very prideful souls. I also eat souls, but I don't tell them that. World of Warcraft was mentioned already in the introduction movie of Warcraft 1 back in '94. I wouldn't be surprised. They've, they're years and years and years ahead. Like, their lead story dude had left World of Warcraft, like, ages ago. But they've still got enough lore and story left over from him that it's not really a problem at all whatsoever. I don't know. There's only been a couple things, as far as I know, that are a bit a bit sus, as the kids would say. Like Thrall's daughter. Her name is just, I forget what it is. It's just a generic orc name though, rather than actually having any significant meaning. I think originally it was meant to have a sort of significant meaning, but it was never set in concrete and set in stone. So it was still a bit whatever. Oh, that building? That's the upper story of the Mage Tower, is the big portal room type thing. And they've got it set up so it's generally scalable and stuff. Orgrimmar's also got one. Enter in Orgrimmar's gates, head right. There's that L-shaped hallway. At the edge of the corner, there's a small ramp down with a big circular room with multiple levels, and the portals are there for that. But this gives you the portals to most of the expansion stuff. There's still the druidy shaman stones thing up to the north for some of the Cataclysm portals, but this has got, you know, Caverns of Time if you need to get out there. Dalaran back in Crystal Song Forest, so that's Lich King Dalaran, Exodar, Shatrath for Burning Crusade, Jade Forest for Pandaria. The Storm Shield and Ashran for the, technically the PvP island thing. As far as I know, the big world PvP thing in Draenor. Don't know anything about that though. This one's empty for now. Borealis for Battle for Azeroth. Oribos for this expansion. Azsuna for Legion. Quit in Cataclysm, came back in Pandaria. Cataclysm was too meh. You know, I think I also quit sometime around Cataclysm. Like early to mid Cataclysm I quit because it was like holy shit, and the starting experience of it was kind of iffy. But I ended up coming back mid to late Pandaria, and then I ended up leaving again before Draenor hit, and I came back at the post season of Legion, and then I played with my wife a bit of the end of Legion, a little bit a little bit of a break as we got distracted by Warframe and stuff, and came back into Battle for Azeroth, I think in like the 2nd season or so. And we've been playing since. We played through all of Battle of Azeroth, and we started the start of this expansion, and blam. This has been my main for a pretty good while, especially this expansion. This is the one that I went with because our guild needed a tank, and I'm typically a Demon Hunter tank because I love Demon Hunter tanking. It just so happens to also be one of the most powerful tanks currently. Mostly due to Fiery Brand. 1 minute cooldown, you can put it on somebody. And it does a bit of damage, but nobody cares about that. 40% reduced damage done for 10 seconds. Just magic, physical, all damage. Minus 40% for 10 seconds. And through one of the talents, you can get this to... every 2 seconds spread to a nearby enemy. It only spreads once. Anybody who had Fiery Brand can't have it again. So it eventually goes away. But through this, you get a really large amount of mitigation. And then there are legendary armor pieces that you can make. With them have different effects. Your powers that you unlock through some raids, dungeons, world events, and Torghast, which is a special dungeon crawly type thing. You throw one of these things on to a legendary item slot to actually make the legendary. Collective Anguish is the one that I've got right now, so when I use Fell Devastation, just a big AoE fire breath that through talents turns me into a demon, making me really strong. And this also heals me a bunch and does a shitload of damage. And self-healing too, just does all the things. I have also got a second Demon Hunter that pops up and does the I-Beam for a bit of extra damage, which is quite nice. But a lot of people, the current meta is that you go with Fiery Soul. So every soul fragment that you eat with Soul Cleave reduces the cooldown of the Fiery Brand by 2 seconds, which is really, really nice. It allows you to get this cast roughly every single pull in a dungeon, which is a pretty huge boon. But I have a hard time convincing myself to then use Soul Cleave to eat all my souls rather than Spirit Bomb, because Spirit Bomb leaves a debuff on the enemies that allows me to heal for 10% of all the damage that I deal to enemies. Of all of it. In this last 20 seconds, and I can easily re-get it up. Like, super duper easy. So it's just through self-healing and all that stuff. Because this also eats souls, which heals me. The Spirit Bomb leaves the debuff. I've got a big AoE. I'm constantly doing a bunch of AoE damage and dealing souls all the time, so I keep myself alive. And I don't see the need to spend all the soul eating into Soul Cleave to get this ability, which is just a 1 minute cooldown, even faster. When I could just be doing self-healing. I suppose for like big boss tanking, then maybe, possibly, I don't know. I don't know. Currently I've got sort of a hybrid build type thing, but it works out for me just well. So this is Oribos, so this is the capital. This is the main central ring type thing. We've got the Hall of Curiosities for Transmog and stuff going on. The Enclave is the sort of main building with like the main quests, and there's some like weekly PvP stuff here. But this is where pretty fucking plot spoilery here, but I mean, if you're not playing, then I guess you don't really give a shit. High Lord Bolvar Fordragon of all people, you know, the new Lich King, he's here. Again, his helmet's a bit busted, but we're working on that. He's here, and he's giving out the quests periodically to save people like Bane, Bloodhoof, and Jaina, and Thrall from the jailer in Torghast, because they're being just imprisoned there and stuff. To what end, we're not really sure. Sylvanas is really fucking things up. Sylvanas is the main antagonist this expansion. She, at the start of it, at the cinematic, walked up to the Lich King's platform and followed Bolvar for a bit, and then shattered his helmet and just ripped it in half, which tore open the entryway into Shadowlands, because the main door of Shadowlands has always been atop Icecrown Citadel, just up in the sky. So she did that and ripped it open, and she's currently working with the jailer, who's like the head honcho of hell. And we don't really know what she's doing or what she's planning. But currently she is torturing Anduin Wrynn, and we have to get him back still. I think tomorrow the questline might start for that. We're not sure. But back, like way back, if anybody remembers, when Vol'jin was still War Chief and made Sylvanas War Chief of the Horde. he said that the Loas are speaking to him and say that he should make her war chief, even though everybody was like, this is fucking stupid and bullshit, why her? And it turns out that the Loa that was doing that is Mwazala, who is also currently in cahoots with Jailer. So this is actually going like way back in the lore. And it's all just, it's cool how it's all hooked in together and is all sort of planned and all of that. How so far back they were going with all of this. Guild chat on screen? I'm sure it's fine. Oh, we can go with combat log though. What happened to me? Nothing happened to me. So yeah, that's that. Dude's creating ghost iron bars. Oh, cool. Good job, blind shot from Mally Ghost. Well done. There's also crafting stuff, Hall of Shapes, Hall of Holding being the bank and guild bank area, and also the Great Vault, which is kind of a new thing this expansion, which is quite interesting. There's a the weekly chest that you would be getting from Mythics. Like if you complete a Mythic, you have a chance for some loot. But if you don't get any loot, you just had like a really rough run. Based on the best Mythic that you had done that past week, there's a big chest that's just got a piece of gear for you. Just a completely random piece of gear. Nowadays, there's the Great Vault, which you open up. So through rating progression, Mythic Dungeon progression, or even PvP if you're one of those people, you get multiple rolls for loot. So because we did all of Castle Nathria this week on normal difficulty. We completed the whole thing. So I got 2 chances for N level 200. We've done 3 bosses on Heroic, which gives me a chance for a 213 piece, which is quite nice. And then through Mythics, I've done a Mythic 12, is the best keystone that I've done this week. That's going to give me a 223. And I've done 4 Mythic dungeons, the worst of my top 4 being the other side, at just plus 10, is going to give me a 220 piece. But I get to only choose one of these tomorrow. This will all be unlocked. I'll see what all of these are, and I get to choose one piece of it. Probably one of these two, because it's the highest item level, of course. But I've already got some 220 pieces, so we'll see what happens. May or may not be a huge upgrade. We'll see. Never touched WoW in your life, so you understand nothing. Just waiting for the Final Fantasy XIV servers to come online. Are they doing like a weekly maintenance thing too right now? Final Fantasy XIV was great. I had a really good time with 14. Should get back into it one of these days. New patch. Oh shit. Okay. Long War of the Horde. Long War of the Alliance, man. I'm an Alliance player. Feels weird. But oh well. That's what my wife always played, so that's what I am. Yeah, fuck the Arbiter. But that's about it. It's pretty basic, pretty simple, this place. Not a whole lot going on. There is an upstairs as well, but it's largely empty. Like, Oribos is surprisingly empty. There's a lot of nothing here. But this is the main transport hub. Each of these big portals would typically lead you to the other areas, which I can't really get a good view of out here. And also the Flight Master is up here. And that's it. You jump down the big shaft here in the middle to fall into the maw. But I don't really have any reason to go into the maw. I got a bit of reason that I could go into the maw, I suppose. Maybe, possibly. Beer Ward, still Dwarf and Draenei only. Well, dwarves have iron skin as the racial ability. Pops them out of bleed effects. And I think also curses and poisons. Curses also? I'm not sure. Bleeds and poisons, certainly. Per effect or move, you get a boost to your main stat. Which is quite cool. Some fights, it's like, oh no, a really heavy bleed. You're just like, nah, fuck it, I'm a dwarf, I don't care. And then you get even stronger. Which is pretty fun. Draenei get... What do Draenei get? I don't know if they get an active ability to use or not. There's Bastion out there. That's really a mess. And then... Arden Wield, I think. That's really a mess. That's probably Ravendreth there, the red one. The Maw's over there somewhere, and there should be a big flow of anima into it from Ravendreth if it's wanting to be congruent. Ish. Try not to fall. Ish. You see it a lot better from Ravendreth. Which I'll head over to now. Priest getting unique spell based on their race. That I'm not sure is a thing. I think priests can remove fear on somebody every once in a while. But fears are typically the thing where you have to interrupt whatever is fearing you, or you just suffer and you deal with it, and that's just how it is. This is our Covenant Sanctum. Again, there's the 4 covenants to choose from. I chose the Venthyr, so we're here in Ravendreth, and this is a little bit, I guess, like the Warlords of Drano or Garrison, or I guess the Legion Order Hall. I suppose this is sort of another take on that. There's the weekly quests that come. There's daily quests or there's weekly quests. Daily quests give you just a box of typically vendor trash that sells for like hundreds and hundreds of gold, and give you a bunch of rep with whatever zone was appreciated, attributed. So like this is defend Ravendreth, just do things and Ravendreth, which is what I've got to do. I think there's a third one that I have to do as well. Yeah, Bastion as well. So I get a bunch of Bastion rep for doing that one, Ravendreth rep for doing that one. The weekly quests give you Renown, which depending on your Renown ranking, you can purchase cosmetic items and the mount that I've already got and all that kind of stuff. The Renown is also what you use to advance the campaign storyline. The campaign finale for me starts tomorrow. There's currently 21 Renowns, the most you can get. Tomorrow should be 23, so I'll be able to finish off the campaign. Well, maybe 24 actually. This might give me another piece of Renown. I can get the Sinfall Gorgon mount, and I might be able to rescue more souls from the Maw, which is just a currency thing that I use for certain upgrades here. There's so much, man. There's so much this expansion. It is unreal. Like I said, I've only recently had a chance to play any alt at all whatsoever. It's been just knocking fucks. The command table for these things, which you may not remember, but they're a little bit different nowadays. Because it's no longer just a % chance to complete them based on who you sent. Nowadays it's actually kind of like a tactics type thing, where people you send have certain abilities. This motherfucking bullshit campaign quest that no Venthyr can do because of how absurdly goddamn healthy their group is. I'm like way over leveled for it, but I'm only just kind of sort of able to do it. A ranged person, every 4 turns, they throw a javelin at the furthest enemy doing 96 shadow damage. Even though it claims, there's a teeny tiny bow, it claims that this is a ranged unit, it's actually a melee unit, it lies. And then they've got every 5 rounds, half damage taken by their allies for 2 turns, and another ranged asshole, and then these 2 in the front, just a bit of damage, but there's just so much health going on, like it's insane. But I might be able to do it if I play my cards right. Because we get Aeleth here, who damages a couple people, and I think I put them in the back because they're a little bit less health, and the back row is actually fairly safe. I've got... God, how did I do it the first time? I was like 100 health away from doing it that last time. I think Simona's really strong, right? 132 every run. She can also use this. She's also quite weak though, so she'd have to be back there. Focusing on him a bit, so we can try to emphasize that. You attack a nearby and far away person, so ideally here, 1100 health could work. You just off on the side, and that I'd like to have a heal, but Man, a meatball in the middle could be okay, I guess. I don't know. It's just, it's so close. If you got 12,200 health, I'm doing 9,050 or 956 damage per round. So we'd be looking at like close to 12 rounds there. 5,300 health I've got, they're doing about 500 per. I don't have any of the self-healing going on. You're the healer. It's just like, it's so fucking close. I can never quite do it. I'm always so close to being able to do it, but never quite there. I think we go for this just for a bunch more experience and boost up our level. 550, Rahel can get a level here. Oh jeez, I guess Simone and Stonehawk. Stonehawk's getting quite strong. 113 physical damage to all enemies at range. Every round, on top of the 160 attack that you do per round. That's pretty fucking good. I'll level you up for sure. And we'll get Simone in there. And then I guess Krolman is kind of getting there. 204 holy damage. And then 170 attack. This is every 3 rounds he uses this though. Not every round like Stonehawk. But still, get in there. Get Meatball in there because he's fun, and then Ayala front and center. Okay, go! But I like this a lot more because it's a lot more interactive. The previous expansions, it was mostly just you send a few people in. Some of them have a counter, others don't, and you send them in, and based on what you're countering and whatnot, there's just a chance that you succeed. But it'd sometimes be just like 94% chance, and it fails, and it's annoying. That's just how it is. Chroma needs pants. Nah, he's fine. He's okay. Necromancer Slayer for a bit of extra whatever. This is like such a low level one, it really doesn't matter. Just throw people in. Like, it actually doesn't matter. Go! Okay, so that's that taken care of at least. Yeah, they changed covert ops a lot in this mod. Yeah, they did. They certainly did. Just to check, was there another thing down here? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Gotta flow some animal though. Oh, actually I don't. It's still from yesterday. Well then, I'm sure in 30 minutes it won't be, because it resets at some point. I just forget when. Got two aheads of the curve in Pandaria, and then in Draenor realization set in on how much work it would be to get more. Oh, you could settle for anything less than curves now that you've gotten 2 in a row, so you just gave up on the game entirely? Nah. It's,
Wow is going on here?
Hey, PCTP 4HBLU, thank you very much. 1,000 bits. Yeah, a bit of WoW going on. I got some daily crud that I gotta do because I haven't done it for a while. It's also just a sneaky casual poke to see if there's any interest at all out there for Warcraft, because I'd love to do a gaming with viewers type thing for Warcraft, but so many people were so addicted to this once upon a time, and they finally kicked the habit, and I know that they'd fucking hate if I did that. But I don't know. I think it'd be great to get a viewer guild going on. I think that'd be tremendous. No, a bunch of friends started playing again due to COVID. Yeah, tried to lure you in. Wavered a bit, but managed to resist. And now I'm doing it again. Sorry, Thals. Yeah, a lot of people came back from COVID because, you know, it was a thing. But they came back. They would have come back toward the end of Battle for Azeroth, which is a weird time to come in because the postseason for Azeroth was really long and really nothing. That's why I've got so many characters at 50, because I was able to just grind up like 6 characters to level cap, and I got them pretty decently equipped too. There's just nothing going on, and now Shadowlands is hit. Now there's a bunch of shit to do. Like if COVID could have waited just another few fucking months. Yeah, I probably had old content to do first. Yeah, they definitely would have. It would have been a really confusing time though. And it always is post-expansion, because there's a lot of stuff that's still in that really doesn't matter anymore because you really quickly just out-leveled it. And there's all sorts of just general...
Help them deploy aid to our allies
should
on
get
the
that.
battlements below.
Just leftover stuff everywhere all the time, always, which just complicates things for a newer player. But I guess if you're new and learning, it doesn't really matter anyway, then, yeah. I don't remember where I left off in Fantasy XIV. I think Heavensward? Either the start of it or the end of it. We left off. We left off sort of between expansions. But I don't remember exactly what we were doing to maybe jog some memory. I don't remember at all. Like, at all. Which is a shame, because the story was like, holy shit, good. Liked Heavensward, was helping some streamer the other day. Can't remember their stream thing name, though. Yeah, I don't remember if it was a starter, because what's the expansion order? Look at these mailboxes stuck in the wall. 2 of them there. They can't be used. Definitely just kind of there, though. They've been there since release. I don't know. It's the only major level design bug that I've seen, and it's just behind this building, which is a popular flight point hotspot. I don't know. It's a bit strange. So it would have been the end of Heavensward, though. Okay. Because definitely after A Realm Reborn, that's when the story kicks off, after the first expansion. So I don't think we even started with Stormblood. Maybe a bit. I remember there being a the cutscenes are still teasing the dark dude, because you're like the, I don't even remember the words. Forgive me. We're like the avatar of light or whatever, though, the hero of light or something like that. And it's teasing just like a hero of darkness as well in cutscenes and stuff. And we haven't quite figured that out yet. Is maybe possibly where we are. So I think we're between expansions. Warrior of Light. Oh, close enough. Fuck. Something like that, though. But yeah, I think it's maybe mentioned a Warrior of Darkness or so, like a couple times, and it's like, oh, what's that all about? But I know the Shadowbringers cinematic showed off like a really crystally dude. No idea who that is. Some people are still missing from after A Realm Reborn. We haven't found them yet. I wouldn't remember their names, though. Fuck. Like, Minfea? Pray speak to me at Waking Sands, that bitch? I think she's still missing. But I have a large suspicion of who it is through a cinematic in Shadowbringers. But I don't actually know who that is, or why, or how. Menphilia, that's the one. That was close. That's how long it's been, though. Really long. So that's where we left off, though. We just got distracted by something else. I think that might have been Warcraft we started getting back into then. I had a good time with it, though. I quite liked the way that the dungeons and boss fights are in that, because you don't have... They're not terribly difficult, but they're still really fun. Like, obvious AoEs are all highlighted and the attacks are all highlighted. Just avoid the bad zones and you'll be okay. But the fights are still fun, and they're kind of fun to watch too. Like, I was watching some videos of some other fights, and it was kind of a blast to watch, because it's just like this whole choreographed kind of dance going on all the time. Cinematics are heavy spoilers if you just started. I mean, they show off something, but in the game's so heavily story-based, it's sort of weird to do it that way. Thankfully, they don't often spoil much through dialogue. It's just visually spoiling. But there's so much story stuff going on with Final Fantasy XIV that I feel like it's still not much of a problem. Maybe a bit of a problem. A little bit of it, though.
Darkwing forces have been dispatched to the area for training drills.
Let's actually go with this guy again. Seems like every time I do this, I get a new ability with him, so I'm kind of curious what this guy gets, because he's a bit lame otherwise. Leap to the air, slam down, physical damage and applying crushed, which was this, increasing damage taken from bleeds, and this is the stacking thing that does the bleeds. So we slam down, and then I can call, and we can crush, and okay, yeah, sure, I guess so. If I have to. Yeah, sure. The combat with these guys is weird because they're technically a vehicle, and vehicle combat's always been kind of ass. So it's like, there's this weird delay with everything going on. But this dude's pretty much just spam 1, which is a cleaving bleed thing, and then 2 is a big finisher that does extra damage if they're already bleeding, I think. Oh no, I got it backwards. I'm usually the other lady. This dude's weird to me. So we want to crush them first off to reduce their health a bunch and make them weaker to the blades, and then we just bleed them out. Or just keep pressing fucking all the buttons because it doesn't actually matter. That's also a good way to do it. Because I think these dudes kind of scale with gear, and my gear is actually quite okay. I've done a pretty alright job gearing up my Demon Hunter gear. There's of course the tryhards who are on like Nihil Intirid on the server, who are like the top progression raid guild currently. They're the Realm First Mythic raid. I think probably the only one on the server who's got Mythic completed. I think possibly. But like not counting them, I think I might be up there, because like at a level 220 is roughly top. You can't really get a much higher item level than 224, I think, is Mythic plus 15 where it caps out. I think. Ish. Something like that. And I aggro a bunch and then do a jumpy jump, and then we do everybody good over here, and then we just start swinging Mad Link. That seems to work out okay. Look at that. Yeah, this is Malfurion or Malagos. I forget which one of those two. What's even more confusing is they're like sister channel servers too. So like we have a bunch of people from either one of them, but I think Malfurion. Pop says Malfurion, and I'm inclined to believe her. The basic kit. Oh, we get to play as a dredger. Appease some assholes during their party. Get over there. I don't care about line of sight. Oh, jeez. Have no characters on either of the servers, so you'd have to play from scratch. Well, if I were to do a thing with... If I were to make streaming this a thing, we'd probably start on just like a English server. So look at them. Nihil Intirid. He's a lowish one though. He's only done +9. No raid experience. Jeez. Every time I've had to play with somebody from that guild, they've had like the most massive, absurd stick jammed so far up their ass. Like, you know it's bad when the guild's got the name in all caps too. Like, they want you to know. They want you to see it and be like, look how fucking awesome I am. Yeah, good for you. Well done. We're all very proud of you. It's quite the achievement existing and doing Mythics. Well done. Fuck. Hello? Okay. What do you want? Yellow was food? Run! They sometimes want food or drink. I think drink is the red shout icon then. We gotta clean up, and sometimes there's a big rat that we gotta fight off, and we gotta avoid the guards that are walking around because they'll spot us. Very easy daily quest. Licking piss off the... Nah. Well, maybe it's piss, I don't know. Pretty thick pudding piss, but that's how it is some nights, you know? We're on our hands and knees mopping it up though with a sponge. Ah, fuck off, rat. Jesus, this is a healthy rat. You know, like this guy, Red. He's wanting drink, yeah? Yeah, he is. Their security, watch out for that. They'll see through our disguise somehow. They're very magic. Just run around and do this for a little bit. No problem. 46%. Already halfway done. Easy peasy. Busy work.
So long since I
That's all these are.
on a living mortal. Are you in a rush?
Yeah, so we got... Okay, it's a brush, not a sponge. We just kind of smear around a portion of it, though, with a brush. Really work it into the grout. That's how you get it. You just blend it in with its environment. There's no use cleaning it up. You'll never get it all out. So just blend it in better and nobody sees it anymore. That's how it works.
Many dark secrets.
Pay transferred your paladin a single time because the server on there was too dead. Week after they announced 50% off server transfers, and the week after they announced server merging. Oh, that sucks. That's such bad luck. Yeah, they did that for a while to help balance servers out. Sometimes they give you a well, like a server discount or so if you want to switch over to another server. I remember they did that way back when for one of the North America servers I was on.
It has been so
It was kind of cool. It's a nice, like, nice change of pace, but the server that you transfer to then is usually filled with just the weirdest mix of people, because a dead server typically is like really heavy PvP. I don't know why, that's just how it is. I guess it's because the PvP groups look at more servers, and then getting a raid set up for a small server is a lot harder, so they just turn into PvP. But back then the PvP gear was a lot different than the PvE gear. So you'd have these people then trying to raid, but they've got really garbage gear for it, and well, it doesn't help anything. And then people transfer again to try to find a raid server that actually works for them. 95%. Okay, so we can fly down and do my daily rare. The chest we can largely ignore. I'm somewhat curious on the greedstone over there, but I don't know if I can easily get there. I'm not often up here. Looks like I just have to take it the legit way, using the bridge. Ugh. Taking things the legit way as a demon hunter? Fuck that. I mean, you can like double jump and glide and slow fall and just jump around all over the place. Taking normal routes. Sometimes it just dismounts me in those gates. I don't know why. The drink from the brush. Oh, there you go. That's an idea. Really scrub it around on the ground. Get it all nice and frothy. Ah, yes. I wish more games had double jump. Dude, just double jump is just a thing in games. Ought to be normal standard. I think. It's ridiculous that they're not. So the question is, oh yeah, that answers that. However, no path available. Don't you tell me that. And I got a teleport thing because I'm Venthyr, and that's just what our cool ability is, but it just doesn't quite reach, huh? No, not quite. You're really gonna make me do this legit, aren't you? Yeah, you are. Oh, you shitter. I have to find a normal way around, which might involve going south side and getting an elevator. Oh, well, that's poop. That does the poopy. All right, Greedstone, you may have won this round. What if no, probably not. I was thinking maybe I could like up there and then onto the tree and then from there. Be surprised what you can do as a demon hunter. Okay. Keep catching yourself trying to close the map. No, you can't close that. Nope, this is just open. You can try to click it, it won't work though. We get to just sit here with it up and you can just deal with it. Then I wonder what I get stuck on and why. Fighting something, what is it? I don't know. I'm a tank, I don't have to care. They don't hurt enough. And they can't also knock me off my mount and daze me because I'm a tank. Nice bonus of being a tank is you don't have to put up with that. Although I guess there is, in the mounts tab, there's just general mount equipment that you can put on. What's going on here? No, just some random fight. One of these is like comfortable barding that I think leatherworkers make that prevents you from being dazed off your mount, regardless of who you are. Demon hunters are leather armor, but they have a passive. Where is it? Demonic wards generally reduce magic damage, typically 15%, and physical damage also 15%. But I've got a covenant bonus on that boosts the magic damage resist a bit more. And there was, maybe it's just general for some reason. No? Oh, vent, because it's specifically a tank thing that I've got. Thick skin for being a demon hunter tank. Increased stamina 65% and armor by 100%, so it's a bit doubled, which gives me just a natural 30% physical damage mitigation. And that's not counting the wards that I've got, which is another 15%. And then on top of that, because we're agility based, we typically have a decent amount of dodge. I've got a little bit of parry going on. Really, really good stuff. And then we got obviously our normal mitigations. Demon spikes that you can do all the time to increase the armor by, for me, still more than double, and also parry chance by 15%. 6 seconds, 17-second recharge, but 2 charges of it. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. I almost want to get that greedstone just out of spite. But it's just the bridge behind me. Just out of spite. I can't let it beat me, okay? I can't let it win. It's also a greedstone, so it's a bit fitting. Luke is that? Hello, hello. 4 leather classes, only 2 male classes. Male being hunters and shaman. Is this a dead end? Look here, you. Come on. What the fuck? Okay, you know what? Fine. 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 I'll circle back around. We'll see what happens. There's gotta be a way up there over here, right? Like, what's that bridge? That's just that. But how do... The fuck? Dude, this greedstone is winning so hard right now. I don't know. But joke's on it, I'm a demon hunter, yo. Rawr, 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 rawr. Got the combat log going nuts down there. I'm not used to having that open. Like at all. It's very distracting, actually. Well, look at that, 100% health. They did nothing to me. Those are souls that just pop out when I use some abilities, and they get sucked in when I use some abilities or move into them, and they give me health. So, can you open your door for me? Dude, I gotta go around that way? Alright. I'll do it that way then. Don't go this way at all. Not at all. A druid, warlock, rogue. That's what you played? Interesting combination. What'd you like the most? Cooldown on the wings? There is no, I mean, global cooldown to pop out the wing. Okay, 1.5 second, a bit more than global. But I can glide around just everywhere. No problem. That's just what we do. The harvest can just sit over there and wait. I'm on a mission. Yeah? Yeah? Looking good. And your paladin, you have to wait for a bubble to be off cooldown. Yeah, and just like bubble drop down. Yeah, I mean, there's the toy buy. There's like slow fall things that you can get out here. Like this is a 5-minute cooldown for a parasol that you pull on that gives you slow fall, and there's like some never-ending breath thing that you can get. Like there's toys you can use for slow fall too. Nobody ever remembers that, but that's a thing as well nowadays. I go straight through. I'm paranoid a little bit. The rogue was because you needed a way to stab your friend and then run away. Liked Warlock for PvP and raiding. Druid was great for Mythics and healed as a Druid since 2005 or so. My very first character was a Druid and I ended up being Wrestler Druid. I liked that a lot because managing Wrestler Druid back in Classic and a 40-man raid was one of the most intense things that I've had to do in a long while. Look at this Greedstone being a bastard. Look at you wanting to knock me off. Well, joke's on you. I got wings and stuff. And do I just run off this? I'm gonna go backwards for you. Oh, you're not gonna beat me. I know your trick. Because I don't think I can. Yeah, no path available. It's fine. I got it. And technically we're done, but I still want to do the rare daily down there. There's an anima flow thing that I was looking at before, and one of the areas I can flow down is to there, and it unlocks a rare that I can do. Warlock PvP was rude back in the day, because like you'd kill the Warlock, but its dots would get the last laugh. Holy Priests are in a weird spot right now because they don't have a whole lot of emergence. They have a little bit of emergency, get a dude healed up fast type thing. But a lot of what they do is just like huge AoE sustain. Or if there's like kind of spiky AoE, they're pretty okay at handling that. Holy Paladins are still best at main tank, off tank healing. Not really at all whatsoever AoE heals. Druids are phenomenal at sustain. Shaman have become really good for a little bit of just emergency top off and stuff like that. So typically, like for our rating, we have Druids for just sustaining, and then we've been using a Resto Shaman for some fights for topping people off. Because sometimes there's just this big wave of damage that comes by, and it's just kind of, you know, there's not a whole lot you can... I'm gonna go over here. Not a whole lot you can do about it, it's just like guaranteed raid damage. So sometimes you need a shaman to top everybody off. Discipline is, discipline's busted. Discipline healing is not at all what you would remember it being. It had its moment where it was just insane. And I think Lich King even, it was just basically, you could use them as the general raid healer because the damage that they do is just spread onto everybody as healing. But nowadays you have to bubble somebody to give them a buff that allows you to do damage to heal them. But it's a single cast thing. So you have to spend time giving everybody individually a buff so that you can then do damage and heal them. But if there's quick damage coming in, it's not really reasonable to just say like, oh shit, here's your bubble, stay safe for just a moment, and then go back to damaging real quick. And post-fight, if anybody's got to bleed, you're fucked. There's nothing you can do. It's, yuck. It's really, really yuck. I don't know of anybody who mains a Disciplined Priest healer. The only people I see playing Disciplined Priests are just for dungeons because it doesn't much matter for a dungeon. There's enough go going on that you can just keep the tank bubbled and just do your thing and nothing happens. But for Mythics it might be a different story, I'm not sure. Do I have... I gotta get a ballista bolt as well.
The brokers have secured a cache of curious weapons from other realms.
Prop Paladins remain ever since Burning Crusade. Prop Paladins pretty much always been good. I suspect that Paladin is one of Blizzard's favorite classes. I think whoever's in charge of Paladin balance is... I think they're at a very high status in Blizzard, because they've kind of always been the go-to tank. Because whether it's single target or AoE or pulling in some casters, they've got options for all of that. They've got self-heal. They can help out spot heal with the rest of the group. They're tremendous. They're in fucking plate. Like... Bears are also quite okay. Bears are really good in last expansion for stuff. I think Prot Warriors were the best because last expansion had Azurite traits that you put on. Yeah, helmets, shoulders, and chest pieces came with like a bunch of unlockable traits and stuff that you select from a crazy wheel thing. And some of them were bullshit. And for the Prot Warrior, they were the best. If anybody was doing really high level, like plus 30 plus mythics, they would always be with the Prot Warrior. Because the cooldowns and mitigations that the Prot Warrior's got, it's too strong. You're just like, you know, I block everything and also take just half damage, and also my blocks can crit now, and also I've got like double the health, and it's just all the things. It's disgusting. So you just do a massive pull, mitigate all of it. I should have gone... Let me actually switch over to DPS for a moment. It's faster this way. Grrrarg. You stop that, although not really, because the effect still persists and I'm still being pulled in, even though I interrupted it. Does this do anything to this guy? Probably not. Yeah, no, not at all. Okay. I played Prot Paladin for a little while. With my druid, I went over with from Resto, I went over to being a bear druid when I played with my wife. But ultimately had settled on a Prot Paladin because just the usefulness of being able to take care of yourself was too good to pass up generally. Like it's too good because you get so much self-heal through everything that you can do. And I think that's why I really like Demon Hunter tanking, because you're also really good sustained. Just my general leech that I've got going on at eating the souls, and the bit of mitigation that I can give, and the fact that if I do damage, like this basically turns into plus 10% leech for me, and I take care of myself to a degree. I'm not sure how it'll work with raid. For raiding, I've been stuck as damage because we've got a Prot Paladin and a Prot Warrior for the main tanking.
Good morning. Is this long Warcraft of the Chosen?
Yeah.
EDF.
Yeah. Hey, I don't Pedro. Twitch Prime, 10 months and an 8-month streak. Much appreciated. Good morning to you as well. Nah, just doing some quick chores here. What's the chest here? Oh, a satchel. How much do I care? Not really. I should care. I just don't. Gotta go to Bastion.
Why would anyone walk anywhere?
Why would anyone walk anywhere? I don't fucking know. Walking. Imagine that.
Who are we going to kill today?
God, a lot of these are really annoying world quests. I hate the Bastion zone. It's fairly pretty, but boy, do I hate the quests and stuff going on there. If anybody ever wants to hop into Warcraft with me one day, that'd be great. Like I said before, I'd love to get a stream guild or something, because that'd be fantastic. But I don't think I got enough people for that. Paladins, shamans, druids, priests back in Vanilla Burning Crusade were kind of forced to go into healing for raids. Yeah, they very much were. Because you had the set bonuses from the raid gear that was heavily geared toward that. The exception being in Classic, the tier 2.5 stuff from Encourage, because that was usually a bit awkwardly geared. That worked out really well for those odd off specs. So you could be an Arms Warrior, and we don't talk about Fury Warrior. You could be an Arms Warrior and use that stuff and still be quite okay. And a lot of people would have that for PvP. Because back then, when people only had 3,000-4,000 health, with like really good stuff as a tank, it didn't take a whole lot to kill a player. And then if you're a warrior with the tier 2.5 stuff, you could do a quick charge mortal strike, and if you get like a sword proc or a lucky crit in, you basically one-shot them and it'd be over. But if not, you rend them and they'll bleed to death slowly. And that was it, that was all. So it kind of broke PvP for a little while having that, but it's okay because it wasn't really about PvP. But unless you were doing the Encourage stuff, you were really heavily forced to go into a specific role for your class. For sure. It's an hour and we're on to WoW. World moves too fast for these. Hey, how you doing, Anton? I'll be switching over to EDF pretty soon. I got some stuff to do on Warcraft quick. At the time, healing classes shouldn't be good at other specs because paladins were OP in Ultima Online and they should tank and heal while tanking. Strange. I guess so? I mean, if you were a druid and you switched over into a bear for a bit of spot tanking, worked out really well. I'm not sure how it'd go for main tanking, but if shit starts hitting the fan, you know, you do like a quick druid battle res chain, you know, battle res one of the other dead druids, and then they'll battle res somebody who battle reses somebody, and while you guys are doing that, you switch over to bear real quick. If like the off tank died, you tank for a little while. You could hold yourself for 10-15 seconds pretty easily without any healing. I remember sometimes doing that when I was a Fury Warrior in Burning Crusade and Lich King. Sometimes, well, maybe not Lich King. I forget when you were not able to equip a shield in combat anymore, when it was considered armor and not a weapon. But Burning Crusade, certainly. I would sometimes just throw on a shield and, you know, you got some cooldowns you can pop quick and do a little bit of spot tanking if necessary. That worked out really well. I forget when you weren't able to equip a shield anymore. I don't think you can anymore. I think they did away with that once upon a time. Maybe not though. I don't know. I haven't tried. I haven't had to. I haven't played my warrior in fucking ages. I've got a warrior on Horde. I've got one on Alliance too, technically, but that was Prot. I've got a DPS Fury Warrior on Horde, but I just played that a little bit. Never really any dungeons with it. Librams and totems? Totems are still a thing. Librams, not so much. Or do you mean the consumable stuff? Like the reagents that you needed to cast spells? Like, yeah, you gotta buy an Ankh if you want to do your battle res. Or self-res. Oh, you want to summon a cool fiery golem thing as a warlock? Well, you gotta buy the reagent for that. Oh, you want to give somebody this buff? You gotta get the reagent for it. Back when you had the fucking key slot too for your key bag. Special item they had, not the the ranged, or well, what would have been the ranged slot? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that too. Warrior with a stamina gun or so. What are we doing here? Restore some dudes, kill some pride. All right. Watch this dude called Drop Dead. Help him out. One of the 7 bazillion jillion hunters that exist nowadays. Fucking everybody's a hunter. Take a drink every time you see a hunter. You'll never be dehydrated again. Fuck, everywhere I look are hunters. The charts say druids, but let me tell you, all the druids, they're bots. They're bots because they can go around in stag form, which is almost as fast as just a mount. They don't get knocked out of it. They can harvest while of stag. They just do a big multi-box thing, or nowadays it's just a follow spam. Just massive conga line of stags running by, eating flowers. A real menace to society. Druids, Death Knights, Sea Hunters can jump into off-tank spot if needed. Death Knights, maybe. A little more difficult with them because a lot of their stuff is tied down to the spec specifically. I don't really know how it is exactly nowadays because I don't have a whole lot of experience with Death Knights. But a lot of it is like, do you want to be AoE tank or single target tank? These are the talents that you would choose for that. And as a DPS, I don't think so. Like, you'd think because you're in plate that it's okay, but there's passives that come along with being a tank that makes it too difficult to jump into nowadays. You'd have to have a cooldown to pop. Which is why I think druids would still be able to do that, because you can still get frenzied regeneration as a druid, and not sure what Death Knights get though. Not a whole lot of classes I think can jump into just like a quick off tank for a little bit. A lot of stuff's just too fucking painful. You gotta save some dudes too, right? Ancient and the structures restored. Try to find a spot that doesn't have 100 horde in there. But let me tell you, the hardest part about being an alliance, Oh right, we got the mirror fragment things. Combine 3 fragments into a mirror of ancient teachings. I think that might be what I used to save the people. I might not be doing it wrong currently anyway. Might be okay. Miss fishing and Starman getting murdered by people for being there? That's still the case. Even on a PvE server, if you walk into their capital, you're super boned. Because the guards attack you and the guards flag you for PvP then automatically. So what are we looking for? One more fragment from, not these dudes. These guys.
The Shadowlands are doomed.
Hunter! Marksman hunter, though, without a pet. It's not very often you see a marksman hunter without a pet. They always forget. And they're like, oh no! I gotta have a pet because I'm a hunter. No, no, no. Not anymore. When you go marksman, you get a passive talent. You get plus 10% damage dealt without a pet. Which turns into quite a big boost. Or is it 15? I think just 10. Do I need to get another bunch of mirror fragments? Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised at all. That's okay though. Looks like it drops from specific people. Recycled icons? Yeah, they got a lot of icons that are reused a little bit. But a lot of the time it's just like a kind of a side quest item type thing. The gear and all that is usually fairly unique looking. But I mean, there's so many icons in the game though. Like, fucking look at them all. There's so goddamn many icons. Well, yeah, they do recycle icons a lot. Sometimes you see an icon that's like, I remember when that was like a really cool epic item back in the day, but now it's just like the icon for some vendor trash. Hey, I'll take it then if you don't want it. That's fine. You mirror fragments, yo. Gotta see if I can find another. Well, one of those. Okay. One more fragment. That'll do it. Invalid target. No. I've trained eons for this, and you get taken out by some tattooed up elf. Oh yeah, tattooed elf and his, well, her buddy demon hunter that pops out just for a bit to go rawr with their eye beam. Oh yeah, that's how it goes. Are you a mirror fragment? Look here, you. You stop that. You stop that right now. Be spooked and scared over there. Oh, you jackass. That's okay. I got a mirror fragment? No, shit. What was that? Master for a jewel doublet. Oh, that's lame. The garbage quality jewel crafting socket item, but nobody wants that. I think it's cool that hunters can choose if they want a pet or not. Like, if you want to be a pet, you go Beastmaster. If you don't want the pet, you go Marksman. It's kind of cool because when people think hunter, they think of different things. So it sort of works out. But it's frustrating to see a marksman hunter that's already got like a pet out and everything, because it's like you do a lot better without the pet. Like, it doesn't sound like it's that major, but it super duper actually is. It's pretty. Now I gotta talk to some guy. Dude, these world quests in Bastion, let me tell you, these are the fucking worst. They are the sausage. Lich King for class rebalancing it provided, but sometimes you long for the setting of Vanilla and Burning Crusade. In Vanilla Burning Crusade, world felt like an actual world, had to adjust to the world to survive. Lich King feels like the world adjusts to you. I think that happened for me more in Cataclysm.
Do you require my hand?
But there is, if you have a subscription to World of Warcraft, you get access to World of Warcraft Classic, which currently, I think 3 weeks ago, brought in Naxxramas, so the tier 3 stuff. And they've announced that they're also going to be doing Burning Crusade for that as well. And I think the plan was to also do Lich King, which would mean, I think ultimately Classic then would have the cool armor reforging thing. Because I loved reforging gear. I thought that was great to really build your character the way you want to build it. Because if you want to have a bunch of haste and you get armor that doesn't have haste on it, you could make haste on it. You would take like, yeah, I think it was like it remove. If you got like mastery rating and crit rating or something on there, you could take off the crit rating and turn half of the crit rating into some other stat. It allowed you to really easily customize your gear and perfect it a lot without having to worry about individual drops. But they did away with that. And I really miss that. That's a big thing that I miss.
In time, they will see the error of their ways. I hope they have learned a valuable lesson this day.
Yeah, this day, but the next, probably not. I'll have to come back out here tomorrow, do it, although probably not. Because I'm not going to have training in Bastion today. Okay, that's 1 of 3. Fucking hell. About this one. Ah, real monsters. What a show that was. Repel the devourer threat. That's going to be kill a bunch of stuff, use a bunch of stuff, maybe talk to a couple people. Those are fairly okay. Cataclysm's huge spike in how strong shit was. Cataclysm, the start of Cataclysm was super fucking rough, and it still is. If you were going through, well, I don't want to say still is, because they've changed the way leveling works entirely. But before the huge level squish and all that, when you got to the point when you could random queue for Cataclysm dungeons, suddenly shit just hurt, and tanks would die, and groups would wipe again. Which, with the heirloom gear being as strong as it is, was kind of unheard of. Cataclysm dungeons were one of those that people never really ran, because you actually had to pay attention. Dude, stuff hurt. Stuff hurt like they hurt in Classic. His Classic was also like that, where if you fight 2 things at once, you better hope that your gear is up to snuff, and that you've got some form of like healing potion, or bandage, you know, if you can quickly stun, get one dude dead, stun the other one, and then, you know, quickly bandage or something like that just for a little bit, then you kind of have to do that. If you're fighting 3 things at once, you're probably fucked. And that's just how it was. And they've retained that really well with Warcraft Classic. Because I played Classic for a little bit just to check it out. I couldn't resist. And I don't have the same feeling that I used to have once upon a time when I first played Classic. Like, when Classic was actually new. But that's okay, because a lot of what I've got is just like, you know, lost nostalgia, which you don't ever get that back. But the difficulty is still definitely there. Where if you have a friend who's a herbalist and alchemist, and they can make, like, strength potions for you and stuff, then holy shit, awesome. That's what you want. Because if you can give yourself like this, like a strength pot, an armor pot, the healing potions, and you know, You maybe get like a random attack power boost from a passerby warrior who shouts at you with battle shout. And it's like, holy fuck, for a little bit now, we're good to go. That was nice. You actually hurt? Do I need to pay attention to what I'm doing? Not really. Not really at all. Classic has, unfortunately, I think there's more people with more game sense nowadays than they had before back in the day. Because nowadays there's a lot more people doing the Onyxia head, and they organize things on like the server Discord and all that, with like, oh, I'm gonna turn in the Onyxia head, and everybody gets a rallying cry of the Dragon Slayer, which just gives you absurd amounts of crit and stuff. Turns you into a beast for like 2 hours, I think. Insane. There's a lot of that going on, and PvP is completely busted because everybody's just like a twink with, you know, the best in slot gear. Like level 19, there'll be a rogue. They'll have exactly this weapon and that weapon with these enchants. They'll have this shoulder pad and these rings, and everybody's got that. Because everybody knows they just like the metagame at nowadays, I think, a lot more. Which is a bit of a shame. And I want to say it's a lot more today than it was back, because I don't think leveling up once upon a time, I don't think I ever had that Onyxia head. I don't think that many people were killing Onyxia on a regular basis unless they were farming tier 2.5 stuff. Because Onyxia for us, in the guild that I was in, was our warm-up raid for doing progression stuff like AQ40 and stuff. What's your story? I don't know. Maybe some item that I can throw it or so. It seems to be very confused. What? What's it doing? For the head, probably? Gosh, I don't remember.
You stood firm against these beasts from another realm.
Because I think to do Onyxia in the first place, you needed some sort of attunement. To do it well, you needed the cloak, which was a huge quest chain. You needed to do, I think, Blackwing Lair to have much of a chance to do Onyxia. Or is it the other way around? I don't 100% remember. Other way around? Onyxia was before? Okay. Because I remember doing a bunch of AQ rep stuff to get fire resistance gear to make Molten Core a bit easier. And then I remember doing Onyxia as a warm-up. I remember Blackwing Lair was its own raid day. I remember AQ40 being, I think, was the easier of the two, once you know the strategies. I think. God, I don't know, that's really going back. I remember Naxxramas being a huge ball. Like, I hope it's still as hard as it used to be, because Naxxramas required, like, really outrageously good position. Like, you had to know exactly what you were doing. Like, the one boss was, it's a big ring type thing, and you had to be max distance away from it, otherwise you're hit by an aura. If anybody dies, Scarabs burst down, would aggro onto the healers and take them out. You had to do, like, moving the boss around and off-tanking, and...
Hope you're doing well. I think I've slept funny whenever I had managed to sleep last night and funked my neck as painful.
Morning all, hope you're doing well. I think I've slept funny whenever I managed to sleep last night and funked my neck as painful. Dude, I think you're having a stroke. or I can't read. Or maybe both, I don't know. That sucks though. I've had that too sometimes. Usually for me it's like I sleep on when I'm sleeping on my right side it's okay, but when I sleep on my left side I start to snore a lot and wake my wife up. So oftentimes I'm stuck sleeping the entire time on my right side. So the entire right half of my body just hurts. That sucks. And then if I didn't have enough water, then I got a dehydration headache, and oh, it's miserable. That's rough, really rough. First bosses of Nax 40 easier than AQ 40 end bosses. I remember us having a pretty easy time with AQ. But maybe I'm getting some of the AQ bosses mixed up. Could be. I remember us having a really hard time with Naxxramas though. Like a couple of the bosses were a bit easier. I think Spiderwing we got finished off with. What else did we do? I remember us having issues with the instructor where Priest had a mind control because we had a huge issue with mind controls just randomly breaking or, you know, being resisted constantly and just maintaining that because you had to mind control one of the dudes and have them tank. And that was a big issue for us. I don't remember if we ever, was that instructor Vesuvius or something like that? I don't know if we ever, I think we got him down once, but then the servers went down with like this massive lag spike and we were able to just run around the entire instance and not aggro anything and we just kind of did a little sightseeing tour. That was kind of fun. that was the thing. Just collecting 10 of these. That's it, that's all. I don't have to like play hopscotch with a demigod and then answer 5 questions and no, just simple get 10 things. Holy fuck, holy, I don't believe it. Think you fucked your neck somehow while asleep. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Now we're speaking English. Most of AQ40 sees just 2 or 3 bosses that were really hard, and one of them that was impossible to do. Unless you were a horde with a frost mage. Vicidius, I think it was, or so, just because there is so much poison. You needed a poison cleansing totem to keep it in check, and then to kill the boss officially you had to freeze it and then shatter it. So if you didn't have a frost mage, you had no way of doing that. Which having a frost mage back then was a bit, well, I guess a bit normal to have a few. The issue was really the poison that would happen all the time. That might have been AQ 25 though, maybe. I'm not sure. We're going like way back in time for that. We're going like 15 plus years, I think. God damn it. But if you have a lust for the way Warcraft was, I can recommend World of Warcraft Classic. It's a good time. It's brutal if you want to like appreciate gear upgrades and all that stuff. And when you finally start getting some green pieces of gear and all that, that gives you like stamina. It's like, oh my god, stamina, fuck yes, plus 2 stats, 20 health. And appreciate the little things like that, and actually like trying hard with your trade skills to get in good. And just being broke as hell and not sure if you can actually afford training. All that kind of stuff. I'm here to rescue you. Ish. You're not. Okay, okay. You should have done anything. I don't know if your shield's gonna hold. There's just more baddies over there. Oh, they're fucking tote. Okay, well done. Nice knowing you. Enjoy being dead. I don't know. Barely remember what you had for breakfast yesterday. Join the club. As a streamer, I don't even remember what I said 10 minutes ago. Couldn't tell you. It's already gone. It is just a tissue box of speaking right now. It's pulling out whatever, and there's another thing to pull out, and another thing to pull out. Alright, fine, I'll fight. I'll fight you. You could have stayed alive. Didn't have to be this way. Rargh! And then you're basically dead. Okay, moving on.
How curious.
Yay!
The archives are blessed to obtain
So,
such a recording.
because I don't think there's any world quests that I really care about here. A bit for some gold, but... eh. Yeah, no, not really. There's a weapon down there that's purple. Purple quality things I'm kind of interested in because I can drop skinning quick and pick up enchanting to disenchant those into crystals that are currently selling for about 2,000 gold a pop. Minor interest going on there, but we'll get a move on with it, I think. Yeah.
Welcome, my fellow doomed friend.
Hello, Prince Renathal. Bye, Prince Renathal.
Stone Right's blessing, mortal.
What did we get? It's a bunch of fucking garbage. 10 Sandstone fragments. I only have 6,231 of them. Thank fuck for those. And then, of course, vendor trash. 79 gold per. Sells for 636. 1,038 gold. And in this chest, just trash. Okay. That's like thousands of gold, I guess. There's that. I would like to upgrade this, but like this is why I need to be doing dailies more, is I need more anima, because I bought the mount for like 5,000 or whatever, so I'm having to rebuild all of my anima stores, and having a hard time affording these upgrade things. I mean, these ones I don't really care about. These are just like, oh, the adventures complete faster and they heal up faster, but I don't care about that. Because in the time it takes for an adventure to complete, and then me sleep and wake up the next day, the adventure's already done and they've already healed up from it. So it's fine. And if they level, they automatically healed up at full anyway, so I don't really care about that. The Amber Cord is cool, but it's a once a week type thing. This just unlocks more stuff and things to do in my zone, but I'm really bad about doing my dailies. So that leaves this, just making it easier to get around. Oh.
Come back when you need some.
Oh.
All you need for a price.
So, I think...
Nothing else.
I mean, like, I could pop into the Maw. But I don't need to do that right now. That I think can wait. Because there's also weekly quests in there, but I think I did this week's weeklies. Oh yeah, we got the, I got a box to collect somewhere, don't I? Yeah, I do. Oh, dude, let's get our box. Because nowadays, when you get exalted with a rep, you can continue grinding reputation. And every 10,000 you get an additional goodie box. This might actually have something kind of neat in it. My first time collecting one. My bags are 32 slots? 30 slots. There are 32 slots that you can pick up. Nowadays, tailors can make them really easily. Battle for Azeroth, they were really expensive. Tailoring got fucked last expansion, because of how rare cloth was and how much of it you needed to do anything, but late game crafting last expansion was absurd anyway. The logic was like, if you're raiding and you go a couple months without getting a drop, then you've got enough special resources to craft an item that's still a bit worse than what the raid would be dropping, but nobody's luck is that bad. So nobody made any of the endgame stuff, and it's a shame. But bags were super expensive. But now this expansion, bags are a lot easier. The profession that got fucked over this expansion is me, leatherworking. Because of how rare. There's not just leather, there's also hides to get. And hides are a 15% chance to drop from things when you skin them. I think a 40% chance from elites and like instances and stuff. But you turn this hide, 10 of them, into a heavy hide. The heavy callus hide, which is also a really rare chance of dropping from a thing. You can sometimes just skin that straight out, but typically you just get the basic one. 10 of these turns into one of these, and you need multiple of those to make the baseline legendary item. You take this, you bring it to a special dude, throw a memory in there, and you can make a legendary item. But I need 4 of the heavy hides, plus an additional 4 that are enchanted, and to enchant them, you need 2 of these. So I needed 12 per craft of this. This is only rank 1 though. To make rank 2, I need to learn rank 2. To learn rank 2, I have to make rank 1 15 times. And then I can make rank 2, which is a little more expensive, and item level 210, which is what generally people wanted originally, because 190 was a little bit low. Which turns into, I think, needing 160 heavy callous hides overall, and enchanting 2/3 of that, which at release, heavy callous hides per non-enchanted were about 8,000 gold per. So 8,000 times 160, you do the math, fucking expensive. And to enchant them, it was even more of a ball ache, because enchanters, to get their skill up high enough to make the enchanted hides and the enchanted cloths and the enchanted steel that everybody needed for legendaries, they needed to get their enchanting skill up to basically max. And to do that, they needed the crystals that you can only get from disenchanting epic stuff. But epic stuff was hard to come by because nobody was able to do mythics at the time and get epics on the regular. So for a long period of time, the individual crystals that you get from disenchanting epics sold for 30,000 gold per, I think, and you needed 20 or so to get your skill high enough to then finally make the enchanted gear. Quite the process. Yes, it's for legendary, but still that was the thing. That was nasty. The other professions didn't need nearly as much of this callous hide stuff. Waiting for the enchanted cloth was the big ball ache, but there's no, it's not like transmute where you get a daily cooldown or anything like that. You just make it straight up. Yeah, heroics and regulars are blue dungeon, or just the blue quality stuff. Mythic dungeons drop the item level high enough to be epic. There was, for a little bit, a bug where you could buy cosmetic items, like I got with the Avowed. I got up to Revered, which was a very long grinding process that took all of a weekend plus a bit to get up to, but then that allowed me to spend a bunch of Sin Stones, which I got earlier. I have like 6,000 of them now because they're pointless currently. You spend those to buy a back piece for cosmetic. That was purple quality, and for a little bit you were able to disenchant those. So I was able to grab 15 crystals through that to help out the guild, and we just focused all of our efforts into getting one guy the enchanting skill so that they could make the enchanted stuff for us. But where other people are at rank 4 or rank 3 with a lot of their stuff, I'm only at rank 3 at the wrists. That's it, that's all, because I need so much of this garbage. The price has come down a lot. It's only 1,300 per currently.
Hi Yeti in chat. Why are prisoners not good musicians? They are always behind on the bars and can't find the keys.
Behind on the bars. Kinda sort of works auto. I'll take it. 10 months, thank you very much, Lithriandel. Much appreciated. Happy to have you. Yeah, the experience isn't shared for this stuff. So just for the legendary things though, the normal stuff that you make, like I can make blue quality legs, that's whatever. If I want to, I can throw in some stuff to change the item level a little bit. I recently learned how to do this, so I can make a level 168 stuff, which is high enough to allow an alt with all 168 stuff to go into heroics straight away. So that's okay to get better gear that way, because otherwise you're stuck with item level like 152 average, and you can only do normal dungeons and need to do a lot of normal dungeons to get enough loot to finally be able to do heroics, and it's a bit of a grind. But with this, I can make a set of gear that gets them into it a lot faster. But nowadays you can do enough with your campaign that you get the campaign set of gear that you can then get up to item level 190 and just be ready to raid and do mythics. So, But there's also these things that can specify specific stats using missives that
Hopefully
the inscribers made.
better. My friend claims that he accidentally glued himself to his autobiography, but I don't believe him. But that's his story and he's sticking to it.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good one. Thank you, Lithriandel. Remember when 1,000 gold was much? Those were the days. Yeah, gold's, I mean, I just made like 3,000 gold selling vendor trash that I got from those boxes just then. A lot easier to make money. This is the first expansion at which you actually get like a huge amount of gold easily. Bottom left of my bag looks like a pet, but pets no longer go into your bag, right? Bottom left of my bag? The whistle. Doesn't currently work for Shadowlands because there's no you have to get the unlock to be able to use it in a specific expansion, and there's no way to unlock the whistle for Shadowlands, but just teleports you to a nearby flight master, which is quite nice. But it's a 15-minute cooldown, 20-minute cooldown, something like that. Bloodiest burrito, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. None of the icons aside from stealth looked familiar. But the Healthstone? The Healthstone should be somewhat familiar. The rest of them, though, yeah. Yeah, probably not. Also, don't have the Ocarina anymore. And probably won't, so we can take that out. That's fine. But yeah, that's... The legendary crafting it's a thing. For leatherworkers, it's especially hard. Because there's just not enough callous leather out there in the world. It takes a lot of farming to get. The rest of it, though, is totally fine. It's kind of whatever. The green quality stuff, the blue quality stuff. I'm a leatherworker, I can do leather mail. Easy peasy. There's also some weapons I can do, though they're all just kind of a bit meh. Nothing too wild. The armor kits are once again back. Chest item temporary enchant. Quite nice. Ugh. Okay, so where am I going with this? The lady in there? Don't think this is the accuser, is it? I don't think she's in Darkhaven. No, this is somebody else.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm here for my goodie bag. No, the goodie bag. Yeah.
Going so
Hi.
soon?
Although, what do you have? This extremely expensive to make Feast of Gluttonous Hedonism. Lay out a table so everybody in your party and raid can eat from it and get a well-fed buff, increasing their stats for by plus 20 for 1 hour. Expires on death. The significantly much easier one to make that everybody can just learn from their trainer without requiring rep does the same thing, but gives you 18 in a stat. That's right, there's only a 2 stat difference. 2. A whole 2 of your primary stat, not a whole lot, considering the cost difference. And the fact that this needed a rep. Tabard I got, the Sin Runner I got, the blue, apparently, item level 200 neck I got. That should really be epic. Yeah, they got nothing else for me. Okay, that requires the pet battle charm token things from battle pet dailies and stuff. So what do we got here? 3,500 money, 500 Sinstone fragments, and 50 rubies. Well, the rubies, I'm pretty sure I was at max. The Sinstone fragments, I don't give a fuck about. The money, I guess I'll take. Yuck. I think those are supposed to have a chance for the mount and / or battle pet in there. The tables were usually fairly easy to do. And in this one, they still are. It's just... This is a lot easier to make. The harder things here are the Seraphic Wings, which just drop from flying shit, go to Bastion. The Creeping Crawler Meat, go to Maljaxis and farm some Scarabs. Like 30 minutes, you've got enough of that to do whatever you need to do. And then just a bit of fishing for the rest of it. These things are just vendor things that you just buy for cheap. And there's that. We, for raids, have stacks and stacks and stacks of these. But for this guy, that required the rep. The revered rep to get, and is a lot more expensive because the tenebrous ribs are a lot harder to get. Just the plus 2. It's weird. It's still just 3 things you buy from the vendor, 2 slightly different two different fish in the Thade. I think they both require Thade though. There's baits that you can buy from a vendor for that, so that just takes time. It's really just the tenebrous ribs that are the pain in the ass for that. Is the big thing. Whereas this is just flying things and spidery, creepy crawlies, which is easy peasy. This is a little more difficult, but it's not worth it, like at all. If it were maybe 24 in a stat, then it's like, okay, we're talking plus 6 now. Maybe that's half of almost half of an enchant. Possibly. It's just a weird thing. The rest of it is just like your specific stat, like 30 crit, the 30 mastery, the 30 versatility, the 30 haste. And then these are the more fancier ones. You just periodically breathe fire, much like the, what was it, Winter Spring? I think had a food item that did the, like the dragon's something chili or so. Kind of like that. You just sometimes breathe fire, dealing a bit of damage to enemies in front of you. Nice for a bit of AoE, I guess. Or a bit of out of combat healing, 1,000 every 5 seconds. Or just a bit of a speed boost after killing a dude. Good for farming, I guess. But aside from that, There's a lot of, yeah, 2,000 for, yeah, that's the expensive feast though, right? Yeah. Yeah, and this one's probably less than 500 though. It's a weekend right now, so it might be up a little bit. But it could also be that my add-on's a little out of date. I have to go to an auction house and scan for this to update. It's an add-on that tells me that. But yeah, that's that. There's a lot of stuff in Shadowlands, so like they've done a really super duper good job with Shadowlands. I'm having a really good time with it. There's so much going on. The dungeons are quite nice. The raid is pretty good. There's some difficult fights, a couple easier fights, a fight that requires a lot of movement, a fight that requires a shitload of awareness, and then a lot of fights that are just kind of in between. The trash is nothing to really speak of though, that's normal though. But just so much to do and so many errands to run and all of that. Like I said, I've only just this past week been able to really level up an alt. How much time do you say you need to spend outside of raids to be raid ready? From the moment you hit level cap, right now, if you do your campaign quests, you can be raid ready in like, I don't know, 3-4 hours, like really fucking quick. Like, cause last night I did it with my mage.
Did you hear the joke about the pizza? Forget it, it's cheesy.
Ah, good one, let's re-handle. Much appreciated. Just to like maintain week to week to week. Couple hours, like per person. Because gold's not really much of a problem, you get that naturally. So for me it'd be leather to supply the leather kits. Which, yeah, just like an hour or two of farming I can get the leather for that, because those aren't too expensive to do. Otherwise, alchemists just have to do a bit of flowering. Alchemists have a daily cooldown on making a thing that turns into the cauldron, which is just like everybody uses the cauldron to get a flask. That gives them a long, big buff there. And there is... who else? Oh, also the oils that alchemists have a lot to do. I guess alchemists would have like, I don't know, 6 to 10 hours depending. Or so. Luke is up at the 60-second ad. Give me a moment. We're kind of sort of getting ready to do a game switch anyway. The Hearthstone I got, this is the pre-order reward for the Hearthstone. The shapeshift here is Soul Shift, which is specific to my Covenant, because this is a different Covenant. This is the Night Fae in Ardenweald. They're the sort of nature-y, spirit-y people. So like the natural choice for druids and shamans and if you really want to continue on with like the main lore storyline, they're a good one to go with. Working with Chandra's Feathermoon to help out with Tyrande, and because she's like currently possessed by the Night Warrior, or is the Night Warrior.
One last for now. Here's a PowerPoint. When you start to excel, people will start to spreadsheet. D.
Here's a PowerPoint. When you start to excel, people will start to spreadsheet. Well, there's a couple layers to that one. Thank you, Leatherworking. That one's a thinker. How was I saying? Yeah, Tyrande, because if you don't know, Darnassus is gone. Darnassus was burnt to the ground. The Thanos Blightcrawler, if you remember him. Eastern Plaguelands. He was a hunter trainer who was very sarcastic and witty for the Horde. He's now a really main player. He's like the top tier lieutenant of... Well, is he still? I guess he still is. Kind of certain. He's basically like the left-hand man, really. He was ordered to burn down Darnassus, so that's gone. And then obviously the Night Elves were pretty pissed about that. And Tyrande Whisper would invoke the power of the Night Warrior as an act of vengeance and is currently losing it. She's losing control of herself, but God is she a beast. Chandra's Feather Moon is working to get her back from that. Ysera, who died in Legion very tragically, is back here because obviously this is the afterlife after all. So she's just learning about this, that this has all happened. Nax, I think, used to be a Night Warrior once upon a time. We're currently working with a hunter to find other past Night Warriors to funnel the energy of Tyrande into them. Like, you can dilute the Night Warrior or so it doesn't just straight up fucking kill her. I think she still has to die. I think she has to die, and I think Bane Bloodhoof has to die as well. That's where I am. Because Bane Bloodhoof is currently, like, kind of the obvious candidate for War Chief of the Horde, because he's the only, like, level-headed dude who's still alive, and Thrall basically retired. So there's not a lot of other really huge Horde players left. So he's sort of the obvious choice, but I think as a twist he would end up dying. And maybe Vol'jin comes back, because there's talk about Vol'jin coming back too, because he's still a bit attuned with Azeroth. But yeah, I originally came here to show off the Covenant armor upgrades, because like if you're concerned about, I know you're asking about consumables and stuff, but as far as, where the are they? Ah. As far as gearing goes, though, for raids, when you do your campaign quest, which just unlocks over time as you increase your renown, you get renown through just doing dungeons and stuff. It's just a chance to drop for the final boss, so it doesn't take terribly long to do. Do campaign quests to get cut up. I did all of them with my mage, like, kind of sort of last night. You get the armor pieces for doing that, and you can upgrade them by dragging them in there. You spend a bit of reservoir anima, which you get from daily quests and stuff. You can upgrade the item level, get you up there. I'm at 180 right now. I was at like 150 something before. So bang, just like that, I could go into Castle Nathria on normal difficulty and do okay with it. Or I could start it on some low-level mythics and get stuff too. So now it doesn't really take that long, but we are like kind of in the, you know, heavy middle of Season 1. So it's expected to be a little bit easier. Or so. Which dailies weren't a thing? Well, you don't have to do the dailies. If you really want to just dungeon farm, you can get the anima from that too. Also an option. Dailies are just a lot easier. A lot of the dailies aren't too bad to do. I had some pretty unlucky, shitty garbage Bastion ones to do today, but a lot of them aren't too bad to do. Some of them are just kind of like fun exploratory things. Some of them are a rehash of a quest that you had done in the zone. There's a lot more dailies out there nowadays than there used to be. I think Pandaria was the end of the annoying dailies that are always the same every single day, where it became literally chores. Nowadays it's a lot better. Like, every zone might have maybe 28 potential daily quests to do, but only 5 or so are up at a time. Something like that. So there's a bit more variety. It still gets to be a little bit Some of them are just like, oh, that daily. No, I'm not doing that daily. I'll wait. So yeah, also. Disrupt the Dress Zephyrs down there, but fucking hell, 15 hours left on that? Shit, that's a thing I might have to do this evening. Fucking hell. A new offhand item, yo, because I don't have a two-hander, unfortunately, yet. So I'm rocking that one-hand offhand life. I hate it, but it is what it is. Game was getting in the way of playing with friends. Oh, from the chore stuff and all that. Yeah, it got pretty bad, people having to do dailies back then. Nowadays, dailies can be done with people a lot easier as well. Like, it's just, it's really not that bad. The biggest chores thing that you would have is, well, tomorrow, after maintenance, when the weekly stuff resets, because if you want to keep up with your Renown and be at the top that you can currently be to unlock the most that you possibly can, you have to do a little bit of work for that. But that's just like 3 hours or so, one day, and you've done your weeklies. And dailies for the rep grind, yeah, but you don't need to do the rep grind anymore. There's no real reason to. Some reps sell, like there was that 200 item level blue necklace that I had bought. Every faction's got a piece of armor like that, but that's it. Otherwise, it's just like a fun mount, or maybe like a toy, or every rep's also got like a profession related thing, but you don't need that. It just helps. But it's not required at all for anything anymore. Long gone are the days where you have to grind a rep to get up to a certain point to learn recipes to then craft to be able to do raiding content. That's the old way of doing it. I would say if you really, really super duper hate dailies, the only thing that you're missing out on is getting the Reservoir Anima up sooner. But the Reservoir Anima, aside from upgrading your gear to almost raid level, is only spent to unlock and build up things around the Sanctum that just unlock more daily things to do. So if you like doing dailies, you can spend this resource from dailies to do more dailies. Or if you don't like dailies, then you just say fuck it and you ignore it and you move on with your life. Also totally fine. If you would really rather just dungeon crawl and do heroic dungeons and all that, I mean, there's already, what, 8 dungeons currently from Season 1? You just do that. Because this is a lot nicer than having like 3 or 4 dungeons to do too. There's that. You could use the pre-made group finder to look for mythics that are going on. That's what the pluses are all about. +8, and there's a +0 in here if you're looking for something really easy. That's what my mage should be doing. It's like +0 to +2. All that stuff going on. You could just jump into those and you could get up there real quick with that. It's all a little bit about just what you would prefer to do. +8 sounds low. +8 is the start of the what I would consider the endgame bracket of mythics. Anything much more than +10 starts getting into the hierarchies. +15 is as high as you can get before you don't get rewarded anymore. +15 gets you currently, I think, the +220. No, I think +15 drops item level like 214 or 216, but in the Great Vault every week it'd be giving you like a 224 piece of gear or something like that. That's currently the best. Mythic +0 is, yeah, that's going to be just a notch higher than heroic, like maybe 15% harder than a heroic. There's no time limit for that. When you do your first +0, you get a keystone that'll be +2. And then depending how quickly you can do the +2, because those are time limited. If you don't do it in time, it gets demoted. If you do it in time, depending how much ahead of time you did it, the keystone upgrades. Typically +2 is normal. It can also just be +1 if you just barely did it. If you super duper did it really, really well, you can be +3. So in the matter of a couple hours, you could already be up to a +10 keystone. Depending on the best keystone that you had done the previous week, you will also get a new keystone of roughly that same level from the Great Vault. So you don't have to redo a +0. So there's that. But there are people out there doing, I think +20 is currently top, which is surprising because we're still early on in the expansion overall. Because give it a couple months and item level 200 will be basically just garbage. If it's anything like Battle for Azeroth, it'll have the next tier of raiding stuff that happens, and the stuff from Naxxramas will be kind of terrible, and nobody will do Naxxramas anymore because there's no reason to. It's annoying to me. I'd rather there be a tiered progression type system where if you want to do the current raid, you got to be at a level of the previous raid at least to do that. But the way that they typically do it is the dailies then will be giving you item level like 220 stuff, which is significantly higher than what you would be getting from Naxxramas. So you just do the dailies to get the gear, and then maybe even dungeons and heroic will be giving you like 216 gear or something like that. Completely making Naxxramas obsolete. But plus 22 is top at the moment from Echo. Okay, yeah, I remember there being something about 20. People are saying that like plus 24, plus 25 is likely going to be about as high as it gets for now for this season. Because at that point it's just getting to be so difficult to advance and do it in time. Because already you're at the point where you have to be a bit cheeky with the way you do things. You know, it's not just about crowd controlling and killing, you have to be moving really quickly throughout these dungeons. And you don't have time to dissect the pulls, you just kind of have to pull, sometimes snare, kite them a bit, and just... It's wild. It's a completely different game doing that stuff. But there's no reason to. Anything after plus 15, you don't get any better gear for. It's really just for gloating. So plus 8 is pretty okay. For me, being on my Demon Hunter with the 200 item level, what, 208 I think I am, I should be doing plus like 12, plus 13. I could probably tank plus 15, but comfortably plus 11, plus 12 probably. So, yeah. I don't know what mythic level would be Naxxramas. Probably plus 10. Because I get a 220 piece of gear from the vault doing a plus 10. But the run itself might be dropping just like a 200, 202. It's always higher in the vault. So... yeah, I don't know. I guess in the grand scheme of things, 8 is pretty low, but eh. Plus 7 is 200? Okay. I wasn't terribly far off. From drops in the dungeon, not the Great Vault afterwards. I had some dailies and stuff to do real quick that I needed to get done. So I thought I'd stream a little bit of Warcraft and just stream me doing that. And then I'm going to switch over to EDF here in a couple minutes after an ad break. Because I'm done with them. And yeah. I was also kind of a little bit curious what people's thoughts were of Warcraft, because I would just love to have a stream guild going on. I think that'd be just like fucking awesome. Or even just like a YouTube guild type thing happening. I think that'd be tremendous. And I just, a couple days of the week, just stream Warcraft or something like that. Like, probably not full-time Warcraft streaming, probably just like a day or two or so. I don't know. There's one with 15 plus runs, 6th of them that they've done. 15 or higher. Their best run is currently a plus 15. And they've cleared Naxxramas on Heroic as well. So they're going to have gear a bit better than what I've got on my Demon Hunter, probably. There's a 226 piece that'll be Mythic 14. I think that's going to be from the vault, though. There's 226 dropping inside the Mythic itself would be insane. Mythic 12 weapon. Yeah, okay, Mythic 12 there, item level 207. That's going to be a drop within the instance. Because it's always lower from within the instance. It's always a lot higher from the vault. So there's the vault drop. And the instance. So that's why I thought like plus 10 would be the item level 200 level. Yeah, it looks like they got into it a lot earlier. Because what a lot of people are doing now with the vault is because one of the gear selections is the on par with the highest key that you had done that week, whether or not you complete it in time, which is a it's a strange decision to me that if you don't complete it in time, you still get the reward from the Great Vault for doing it, which leads to a lot of people doing a key that's way higher than they ought to be doing, and taking their time doing it and spending like over an hour in this dungeon that should just take 20 minutes, and getting credit for completing the Mythic on this high level, and then from their vault just taking whatever that slot is because it's going to be a really high item level for them. It's rough. It's weird. I think you should only get a reward from the Great Vault if you completed it in time, to prevent people from doing that. But I guess it's not so bad. It's a piece of gear that they get per week. So, you know, it takes more than a couple months to get a full loadout of that. So I guess it's fine. It's just weird. Challenge mode dungeons? That's basically like high level mythics. Because challenge mode and hard mode was like, that's like the precursor to Mythic, right? Because you had Lich King had hard mode versions that you could do of the bosses like an Ulduar, where you do something a certain way and it unlocks the hard mode. And you get more loot and better loot for doing that. That's like the precursor to Mythic. Because the Mythic dungeons, what those are, is it's timed. And depending on the tier, there's a certain thing going on that changes per week. So across all Mythics, except +0, things will be fortified this week. Non-boss enemies have more health and do more damage. Bosses are just normal though. Higher than +3, Sanguine, non-boss enemies leave behind a pool that heals allies and damages players. So just kill something and move the group a little bit. Pretty easy to handle. Requires a little bit of coordination, but not a whole lot. +7 and higher, all players every now and then just emit a shockwave that does damage and interrupts nearby allies. Also interrupts yourself if you're mid-cast and blocks you out of that Scroll of Magic for a couple seconds. Annoying if you're a healer, but otherwise it's just a positioning thing. And then anything higher than +10 currently is the Prideful, which is the entire season. This one stays week to week to week for the whole season. And every 20% progress that you do through the dungeon, because there's like points associated with the pulls, and you have to do so many points to actually complete the instance. Every 20%, a big mini boss type thing spawns that when you kill it, you get a buff. They wanted it to be easy for the first season, so more people could be introduced into Mythics and get used to the concept before they make it a bit harder. So this one doesn't really come without any penalty at all. It's just, here's this cool buff that lasts a minute. It's like massive health regen, mana regen, haste, and I think also damage increase. It's a pretty huge buff. The big thing for the later on Mythics is timing that 20% threshold to be ideally before a boss or a really nasty pull. So sometimes you take a weird route to make that happen, or do some skips in certain areas to make that happen. Some instances you even skip a boss and then go back to the boss afterwards. Like, I think Plaguefall people do that for the first boss. They go around the first boss, do a couple more pulls, get the buff, and then go back to him to take him out real quick. Because he requires a bit of movement and all that, and if you just kill him really, really quickly, you can ignore the, like, hard thing about the encounter. But these three will be changing week to week to week. This first one here, it always flip-flops. Next week, then, will be bosses have more health and do more damage, which, for some fights, is going to be pretty fucking nasty. These two will be different, though. Entirely different. This was an easy week, pretty much. Wasn't too bad to manage that. Just stay away from each other. Move the group. Easy peasy. What are you talking about with challenge mode? Because I don't quite remember a challenge. I just remember hard mode raids. But Pandaria, I never really did a whole lot of. I came back, like, toward the very end of Pandaria. The dungeon with a locked low item level. So, time walking, I guess? Kind of, and just timed. But like a locked low item level to force you to be a bit shit, and then it times it. Okay. To early blues. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's not a thing. There's time walking nowadays that locks your item level, but it's a bit varied. It downscales your gear for that, but it also depends what type of gear that you've got. Somebody who is in like garbage greens and blues will be much more heavily penalized in the time walking dungeon than somebody with epics. 0 gear, but if you did all the dungeons in gold time, you get an awesome cosmetic set. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's not a thing at all. That's entirely different then. They did away with that. They also annoyingly did away with the unique looking sets too. They haven't done that in a while because the they're gonna do it again after Naxxramas apparently, which is great. I'm happy it's coming back. But for a while, they had, instead of class specific sets, it was more just the armor class specific. So all the cloth gear looks like this, which is kind of shit. I mean, it's okay, I guess. The class hall thing, this was the final raid last expansion. All the cloth looked like this, which it's okay, I guess. But you're talking priests, warlocks, made like they all cloth wearers look like this then. And it's easier to do that, but they said that after Castle Nathria they're going to be going back to making class specific. So we'll have, you know, more unique things where you look at somebody and go like, ah, they're not just a cloth wearer, they're a mage specifically, and you can tell. Which is great. What was... Tomb of Sargeras, maybe? Like, this is the reskin of, or I think normal, the reskin of like, what, tier 2 or something like that, I think. One of the, oh, okay, Black Temple. Reskin of that. Like, they've got some of that going on for a little while. They did that. They did a reskin of the older stuff, which is kind of okay, but a little bit eh. And then they just started doing just everybody wearing cloth looks like this. You got some garbage like this where that doesn't even fucking look like cloth. What's clothy about this? Not really anything. It was really disappointing. And like the Battle of Dazar Lore was one of the worst because everything had a bone theme then. So not only do you share the same stat with all the other people, but it also, all of it looks the same. Black Temple had awesome gear. Black Temple was great, yeah. The only thing missing in here is the original tier 3, but I think that's what... Because they reskinned the original tier 3, the original Naxxramas, and they brought it in. I don't know if they brought it in for the rehash. Was this the old Naxxramas look generally, or is that what this was? Something like that though. And then the reskin of this you saw. And I think there was one more that got a reskin of some form, but I don't remember what it was. Ulduar doesn't really look like cloth either. Like, what the fuck is this? This ain't cloth. This looks like plate or mail or something. New Nax is the reskinned old Nax. Okay, yeah. Thought so. Because I don't remember what tier 3 mages looked like back then. Never saw any. Not many people did tier 3, honestly. Naxxramas came out so close to the release of Burning Crusade. A lot of folks didn't have a chance to really get a full set. Yeah, 10-man, 25-man, there were different sets there. And you've got the drop down for that. Usually different colors. After a while, when Mythic was a thing, they started bringing in Mythic looks generally a bit different, and it's usually a little more flashy and glowy. Usually. There was... trying to find it. Oh, it'd be my priest, not the mage. That's why I'm having trouble finding it. There's a preset that I really like for Mythic that's like, holy fuck! With the screaming shoulder pads and all that. Those are great. I think I've got the head from that. Oh god, Chamber of the Heart. I've yet to leave the Chamber of Heart with you. I haven't even started. I haven't even fucking started on it yet. On Shadowlands. Oh god. Oh, it's also down here now. Been a little while. I think Tomb of Sargeras? Yeah, Tomb of Sargeras. So you got Raid Finder, which is a pretty nice color scheme, really. It's a nice, like, kind of coppery brown with the white and black. Looks nice. And normal is a little more just blue. Very cold looking, but the glow looks quite nice. Heroic. Looking a bit nicer. The hood's a bit more obvious. The white and black combo, the glow working really nicely. And then Mythic, that's just like fucking extra. The shit, the chains are flowing off the shoulders that are screaming, and the halo's a bit there, and it's really bright, like, whoa! It's really cool looking. I like that. And then there's the Nighthold stuff that also looks really wild. I was working on collecting some of that. I just got the headpiece for it though. That's one that's quite a lot different on Mythic difficulty. A lot of the presets are really good. There's not many presets that I don't... God damn it. Not many presets that I don't like. But, again, cloth, so they all look like that. Looking forward to later on. Yeah, multiplayer ADF gonna be starting that up really soon here. I just had a little bit of Warcraft stuff to do. But I'm gonna take a break now. A little bit of water, check on the cat, and then run some ads, and we'll switch game over to EDF. Do a little more of that. Been raiding and be mostly caught up to able enter Nax reasonably ahead of Burning Crusade, but there weren't gear catch-ups. No, it didn't give you very much time. 2-3 months, I think, right? Roughly. Which is pretty much just, you'd be spending almost a month per wing trying to figure it out and learn it. Because there was a lot less game sense back then in metagaming and looking up guides and how-tos back then. It was a lot harder to progress because you also had to worry about your 40-man raid, specifically how it functions, because you may not have the very best group out there. So you had to improvise a little bit sometimes. So you couldn't just simply look up in Icy Vein's guide and be like, oh, this is how the fight works, this is the positioning, because it doesn't work like that. Depending on the tank you've got, it could be an entirely different fight. So you'd be learning the wings, and it would take probably the first week. You might be able to get down the first boss of a wing and maybe start the second one. Then the next week happens, unless you reset or don't reset the lockout, I suppose. But assuming you do, because you want the gear. The second week you'd be working on the second one, probably get to the third. The third guy you'd be working on the next 2 weeks for. Completing all of Naxxramas before Burning Crusade came out would have been quite the achievement. June 20, January 16, so half a year-ish? Okay. So yeah, you had, sure, 6-7 months to do it. But still, though, there weren't many people who did just all of Naxxramas when it was originally around. You didn't see many people walking around with that full set, because the amount of coordination and everything that a lot of the fights required was simply too much for a lot of guilds. I mean, we're talking when Molten Core was difficult and an achievement for people to do. It was an entirely different player mindset back then. But nowadays, if you were to run Molten Core, like if there is a time walking Molten Core, people would just stomp it, because like there's nothing. Oh, kill all these things together, otherwise they resurrect. Okay, that's fine. We've done that before. Oh, these things knock back when they die. Okay, we've done that before. Like, it's just kind of eh. So it's the entire player mindset has changed a lot since then, and that becomes a bit obvious, like with Classic. Like I said before, if you were to play Classic nowadays, it's a totally different experience than what it actually originally was. Even though a lot of the stuff is the same, just the way that players play is totally different, and what players are used to and accommodated for. It's not the same experience at all. But I'll switch over now. Quick break, and I will get EDF launched so we can at least listen to that and not just some weird ambiance in the Chamber of the Heart.